Can you imagine a simple padlock unraveling a web of corruption so deep it would shake an entire neighborhood to its core? That's exactly what happened when the HOA demanded a key to my private lakefront gate at Cedar Lake, claiming it was for community access. Who would have thought my quiet life by the water would turn into a battle against years of embezzlement, threats, and downright criminal activity? Buckle up, because this story is wild. It all kicked off on a sunny Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the lake sparkles and you're just trying to focus on work. I was deep into my emails, coffee mug in hand, when the doorbell shattered my peace. Who could that be? I wasn't expecting anyone. Peeking through the peephole, I spotted Jennifer Wilson, the Maple Springs HOA president, standing there like she owned the place. Her arms were crossed, her pearl necklace glinting in the sunlight, and her foot tapped like she was counting down to a showdown. I took a deep breath. Why did I feel like I was about to face a dragon? And swung open the door. "Hey, Jennifer, what's up?" I tried to keep my tone light, even though our history wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy. She didn't bother with a hello. "The board had an emergency meeting last night about that new gate of yours," she snapped. Her voice so sharp I swear it could have sliced through my front door. "You've blocked the lake access path everyone's been using for decades." I blinked, totally thrown. "Wait, what?" "That path's on my property. I double-checked the deed when I bought this place last year." Was she serious right now? Her smile was colder than a winter storm. "That's why I'm here." The board voted unanimously, I might add. "You need to hand over a key to that gate pronto." Homeowners are furious. They have to walk an extra 10 minutes to get to the lake. 10 minutes? Were they kidding me? My stomach did a flip. I'd put up that gate for a reason 3 weekends in a row. I'd found beer cans, chip bags, and all sorts of trash littering my yard. People were treating my property like it was the local park. "Jennifer, the first sorry, but I checked with the county. The property maps are crystal clear that path is private. It's mine. It's not some community shortcut." Her face turned a shade of red I didn't know was possible. "That path has been used by residents since before you were even born." Ever heard of established use? Oh, she was pulling out the big guns now. Actually, I shot back, feeling a spark of confidence. I talked to my lawyer before I installed the gate. "There's no easement on my deed, and I've had no trespassing signs up for 6 months." That kills any claim of established use. "Take that, Jennifer." Her eyes narrowed into slits, and I swear I felt the air get colder. "The HOA bylaws state that all homeowners must maintain community aesthetics and access. Your gate violates Section 7. Was she really quoting bylaws at me? I wasn't backing down. "Section 7 covers community property," I said, silently thanking my past self for slogging through that mind-numbing HOA document when I moved in. "My land isn't community property. End of story." Then she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a hiss that sent a shiver down my spine. "Listen carefully. The board has ways of making life very uncomfortable for difficult homeowners. Just last year, David Thompson tried fighting us over his fence height. He ended up with $122,000 in fines and a lien on his house. Hand over the key and this all disappears." Was she threatening me? My heart pounded. This wasn't just about a gate anymore. "I think we're done here, Jennifer," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "If the HOA wants to keep this up, they can call my attorney." I shoved my lawyer's business card into her hand and closed the door gently, because I wasn't about to give her more ammo. Through the window, I watched her storm off, already yapping into her phone. What had I just gotten myself into? I called my lawyer, Mark, the second she was out of sight. "Document everything," he said, his voice calm but firm. "If they push harder, we'll need proof." Proof? Oh, I'd get proof. That night, sleep was nowhere to be found. I kept replaying Jennifer's words, her icy threat looping in my head. Around 11:30 p.m., my phone lit up with a security alert. My heart stopped. The app showed 3 figures creeping around my back gate. Was that Jennifer's blonde bob? And Robert Davis, the HOA treasurer? Michael Thompson, the facilities manager, was there too, holding something that gleamed under the security light. Were those bolt cutters? My hand shook as I hit record on the app and dialed 911. There are people trying to break into my property, I whispered to the dispatcher, my voice trembling like a leaf in a storm. I threw on clothes, my pulse racing, and bolted downstairs just as the doorbell rang again. A police officer stood there, flashlight in hand, looking like he'd seen it all. "I'm Officer James," he said. "We got a call about trespassers." I showed him the security footage, my hands still shaking. "That's the HOA board members trying to break my lock. Can you believe the nerve?" He frowned, his eyes glued to the screen. "Let's check it out." We headed to the back gate, my heart in my throat. The intruders were gone, but my padlock was scratched up like it had been through a war. Officer James swept his flashlight around, spotlighting footprints in the soft dirt. "I'm filing a report," he said. "This is attempted breaking and entering." As he scribbled notes, headlights lit up my driveway. A silver SUV pulled in, and out stepped Jennifer and Robert, acting like they were auditioning for an Oscar. "Officer, thank goodness you're here," Jennifer cooed, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "We were just checking on community property. This homeowner has illegally blocked off." Community property? Was she for real? Officer James didn't buy it. "MAAM, county records say this is private property. You were recorded trying to damage a lock on private property after hours." Boom. I wanted to high-five him. Jennifer's face twisted. "This is an HOA matter, not a police matter. We have bylaws." "Bylaws don't trump state law," Officer James cut in, his tone no nonsense. "I suggest you talk to your HOA attorney before you do anything else that could land you in trouble for criminal trespassing or vandalism." "Mic drop!" After they slunk away, Officer James turned to me. "Keep that camera rolling. If they come back, call us right away." I nodded, but sleep? Forget about it. I was too wired. By morning, my inbox was a war zone. 5 HOA violation notices glared at me: hedge height, mailbox color, unapproved garden border, excessive water usage, and get this, improper security modifications. Each one slapped me with a $100 daily fine. Were they serious? This was retaliation, plain and simple. My phone buzzed nonstop with texts from neighbors I barely knew. "Did you see what they posted about you? Are you really blocking lake access? The emergency meeting tonight is about your property. What now?" I opened the Maple Springs Community app and my jaw hit the floor. Jennifer had posted a special announcement: urgent. Homeowner blocks historic lake access. Emergency meeting tonight, 7:00 p.m. at the clubhouse. All homeowners must attend. There was a photo of my gate with a caption accusing me of destroying community value and stealing access generations of residents have enjoyed. Generations? I'd been here a year. The post had 47 comments already, most from strangers calling me selfish, greedy, a blight on the neighborhood. My hands shook with rage. How dare they twist this? I called Mark while brewing coffee so strong it could wake a coma patient. "They're turning everyone against me," I said, "and these violations are pure revenge." "Take photos of your property," he said. "Prove nothing's out of code. I'll draft a cease and desist letter today. Also, grab your property survey from county records." Smart man. I took the day off work. Deadlines could wait, and drove to the county clerk's office. The woman at the counter raised an eyebrow when I explained. "Maple Springs, HOA issue?" she asked, like she'd heard it all before. I nodded, confused. She leaned in, her voice low. "You're not the first. That HOA's been trying to claim private lakefront properties as community access for years. They even tried messing with county zoning maps in 2018. Excuse me, what? They did what?" I gasped. "Got rejected, but they keep at it," she said, printing my records. Here's your deed, survey, and tax history. See this line? Your property goes right to the lake shore, no easements, no right-of-way. Hallelujah. With those documents in hand, I felt like I'd found Excalibur. I spent the afternoon snapping dated photos of my hedge regulation height, my mailbox standard issue, and my garden border approved last spring. Then I filmed a walkthrough of the path, proving it was mine. Victory was close, I could feel it. But at 4:30 p.m., I pulled into my driveway with groceries and froze. My gate lock was gone, smashed to bits. A shiny new padlock hung in its place, with a note taped nearby. Community access restored. Contact HOA office for your key. My jaw dropped, grocery bags slipping in my hands. They destroyed my property in broad daylight. Who does that? I called the police, my voice shaking with fury. Officer Reynolds showed up this time, a no-nonsense guy with a notepad. He photographed the wrecked lock, the new one, and the note. This is vandalism and criminal trespassing, he said. Want to press charges? Absolutely, I said, fire in my veins. And I want a restraining order against the board members. Enough was enough. As he wrote his report, my neighbor Grace Mitchell shuffled over from her yard, her gardening hat tilted with worry. I saw them, she whispered. Jennifer, Robert, and that handyman they hired. They used bolt cutters around noon. I caught it on my bird-watching camera. A hero in a sun hat. Could this get any better? Grace, would you tell the officer? I asked, hope surging. She nodded, her eyes fierce. I'm done with their bullying. They threatened to fine me last month over my bird bath, called it an unapproved water feature. I've had that thing for 23 years. Go, Grace. Her testimony and video were gold. Officer Reynolds promised a haul in the HOA trio for questioning. Destruction of private property is no joke, he said. As he drove off, I felt a flicker of hope. My little gate had cracked open a Pandora's box of HOA secrets, and I was ready to see how deep it went. What else were they hiding? This fight was just beginning. Can you believe a single gate could spark a neighborhood war that exposed lies, threats, and a plot to ruin me? As the police car peeled away from my house, my phone buzzed with an unknown number, and my stomach dropped. Who was calling now? This is Robert Davis, growled the HOA treasurer, his voice tight with menace. You've made a colossal mistake dragging the police into this. Drop the charges right now, and we'll let the gate nonsense slide. Was he serious? You destroyed my property, I shot back, my voice sharp with disbelief. That's not an HOA violation, that's a crime. Listen up, Robert hissed, his tone slithering through the phone like a snake. Jennifer's got connections at your workplace. Her husband golfs with your manager every Sunday. What's worth more to you, that stupid gate or your career? My blood ran cold. Were they really threatening my job over a padlock? The threat hung like a storm cloud, but I didn't answer. I ended the call, my hands trembling not with fear this time, but with pure white-hot rage. How dare they try to bully me into submission? I jumped in my car and sped to the hardware store, grabbing the toughest, meanest lock. They had a beast that screamed, "Don't mess with me." Back home, I ripped off the HOA's flimsy padlock and slapped mine in its place. Then I went all out. New security cameras at every angle, catching every blade of grass, and a laminated sign that shouted, "Private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted. 24-hour video surveillance." Let them try me now. By 6:45 p.m., the clubhouse parking lot was a zoo, cars piling in for the emergency meeting. My heart pounded as I walked in with Mark, my lawyer, clutching folders stuffed with proof deeds. Surveys, the works. The room went dead quiet when we stepped inside. Can you imagine the tension? Jennifer stood at the podium, microphone in hand, her pearl necklace gleaming like armor. Her face flickered surprise, fury, maybe both. "This is a private homeowners meeting," she snapped, her voice slicing through the silence. Outsiders aren't welcome. Mark didn't flinch. I'm here representing my client, a homeowner with every right to attend with counsel, he said, cool as ice. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Neighbors looked at each other, confused. Wasn't this just about a gate? And by the way, Mark added, turning to the room, this meeting breaks your own bylaws. You need 2 weeks' notice for an official A vote. Anything decided tonight? Legally void. You could be sued. Boom! The air crackled with shock. Jennifer's knuckles went white around the microphone. We're just having an informational chat about community access, she said, but her smile was all teeth. Yeah, right. Then bam, a loud knock cut her off. Officer Reynolds strode in with 2 other cops, their badges glinting under the fluorescent lights. Jennifer Wilson, Robert Davis, Michael Thompson, he called out, his voice firm. We need to talk about a property destruction incident reported today. Oh, the chaos that erupted. Neighbors shouted, questions flying like arrows. Someone near me muttered, they never said that path was private property. As the police led the board members outside, I felt a tap on my arm. Grace, my sweet neighbor, slipped me a folded note. I opened it, my eyes scanning her shaky handwriting. Check the HOA financial reports. Lake access line item, $45,000 last year. Where's the money? No maintenance done. My jaw dropped. Grace nodded, her eyes serious. This wasn't just about my gate anymore. What were they hiding? At 6:30 a.m. the next morning, my phone jolted me awake. Grace's voice was a frantic whisper. They're outside your house. Jennifer and the whole HOA board, they look pissed. My heart raced. What now? I peeked through the blinds, and there they were, 5 of them in their pressed business casual, blocking my driveway like a human barricade. Jennifer stood front and center, arms crossed, foot tapping like she was ready to explode. Could this get any crazier? Thanks, Grace, I said, my stomach twisting into knots. I had to get to work, but there was no dodging the showdown. I grabbed my phone, hit record on the app. Something told me I'd need every second of this, and stepped outside into the chilly morning air. Deep breath. Here we go. Good morning, I said, forcing calm into my voice even though my pulse was sprinting. Any reason you're all blocking my driveway? Jennifer stepped forward, her blonde bob frozen in place like a helmet. Drop that police report now, she demanded, her voice low and venomous. The boards decided your actions are hostile to the community. Hostile? Me? Robert, the treasurer, piped up, his cold eyes glinting behind round glasses. We're giving you one chance to play nice before this gets ugly. Ugly? What were they planning? I held my phone up, making sure they saw the red recording light. Are you threatening me? Because that's exactly what this sounds like. We're protecting the community, Robert said, adjusting his tie like he was some corporate kingpin. That path's been used for 20 years. It's tradition. Not legally, I fired back. The property survey shows. Nobody cares about your survey. Jennifer cut me off, stepping so close I could smell her perfume. Do you even know who I am? My husband golfs with the mayor. I chair 3 charity committees. Her posse nodded like she'd just quoted the Constitution. Was she for real? That's awesome, I said, keeping my voice steady. But it doesn't give you the right to break into my property or slap locks on my gate. Doug, the red-faced landscaping guy, jabbed a finger at me. You're making enemies powerful ones. Think about what that means for your life here. My life? Were they trying to run me out of town? I'm late for work, I said, heading for my car. Move. They shuffled aside, but Jennifer wasn't done. She shoved an envelope into my hands, all official looking with the HOA logo. Special assessment, she sneered. The board voted last night. Your property needs extra security because of your issues. $500, due Friday. Issues? They were the ones breaking laws. I took the envelope, not even glancing at it. My lawyers got this, I said, sliding into my car. As I drove off, I caught them in my rear view, whispering like conspirators. My hands shook on the wheel. This was way bigger than a gate now. What kind of power trip were they on? At work, I was a mess, barely able to focus. Over lunch, I sent the driveway recording to Mark and called Officer Reynolds to fill him in. They can't target you with special assessments, Mark said. That's discriminatory. Keep documenting every text, every note. Got it. Then my phone exploded, 12 texts from neighbors, all screaming the same thing. Emergency HOA meeting tonight at 7:00:00:00:00. But here's the kicker, I hadn't gotten a single notice. Me, a homeowner, what were they playing at? Grace called, her voice quivering. I just got back from the doctor, and there are signs everywhere about an emergency meeting. But when I asked Jennifer what's up, she said it's for homeowners in good standing only. Good standing? What did that even mean? A chill hit me. What's their plan, Grace? I don't know, she said. But Nate down the street heard Jennifer on the phone. She said they need to make an example. An example? Of me? Then she dropped the bomb. They're voting to slap a lien on your house, Grace gasped. Mary from book club said Jennifer's claiming you've racked up $155,000 in violations. My knees buckled. $155,000? Was this a sick joke? They're saying you've had violations for 3 years, unaddressed warnings, Grace went on. They've got paperwork showing letters they claim they sent. I never got any warnings before last week, I said, my throat dry with panic. 3 years? I'd only lived here 1. I know, dear. It's all lies. Mary said Jennifer had fancy charts. Graphs the works showing you're some chronic rule breaker. Charts? They were forging evidence now? I glanced at the clock, 5:30 p.m. The meeting was at 7:00. I had to move. Grace, thank you. One more favor, go to that meeting and text me everything. Of course, she said. What's your plan? I grabbed my keys. I'm bringing backup. I called Officer Reynolds, laying out the insanity. Then I rang Mark, who said he'd meet me at the community center ASAP. I swung by home, snatching my folder of evidence deeds, surveys, security footage of the board wrecking my lock. This was war, and I was armed with the truth. Pulling into the community center lot at 6:55, I saw cars everywhere. Had they rallied the whole neighborhood against me? For a second, I sat in my car, heart hammering. I wasn't rich like Jennifer with her mayor golfing husband. I didn't have her clout or connections, just facts and the law. Would that be enough? My phone pinged Grace. They're trashing you. Jennifer's got pics of your gate, calling it hostile architecture. Robert's saying property values will tank. People are riled up. Hurry! Hostile architecture? My gate? I stepped out just as Mark pulled up, briefcase in hand. Behind him, Officer Reynolds rolled in, patrol car silent but screaming authority. Ready? Mark asked. I nodded, adrenaline surging. Let's shut this down. The community center went silent as we walked in 50 neighbors in folding chairs, all staring. Jennifer stood by a projector. A giant photo of my gate splashed across the screen, marked up with angry red circles. Her smile vanished when she saw Mark. Game on. What would she do now? Can you imagine the nerve of someone trying to shut you out of a fight for your own home? As Jennifer stood there clutching her gavel like a lifeline, she bellowed, "This is a private meeting for homeowners only." Her voice echoed through the community center, but I wasn't about to let her intimidate me. Oh no, not today. Perfect, I shot back, my voice ringing with a confidence I barely felt. I am a homeowner, and these gentlemen are my guests. I gestured to Officer Reynolds, who gave the crowd a polite nod, and my lawyer, Mark, who stood tall beside me. The room buzzed with uneasy neighbors shifted in their seats, whispering. Could they sense the storm brewing? Mark stepped forward, his tone calm but razor sharp. Before you go any further, everyone needs to know this meeting violates your own HOA bylaws. You're required to give 2 weeks' notice for any official vote. Gasps rippled through the crowd. 2 weeks? They hadn't even given me a heads up. Robert, the treasurer, scurried to Jennifer's side, whispering like a panicked advisor to a crumbling queen. Her face flushed a furious red. Busted. "This is an emergency session," she snapped, gripping the podium. "Special circumstances. Special circumstances?" I challenged, scanning the room, locking eyes with my neighbors. "What's the emergency? My gate that's been up for months? Or is it that the police are investigating criminal property damage by your board members?" Oh, the shock on their faces. Murmurs exploded, confusion, doubt, curiosity. People were starting to question her story. Mark cleared his throat, commanding attention. "I've got evidence of harassment, vandalism, fraudulent violations, and discriminatory enforcement, all targeting my client." His words hit like a thunderclap. Fraudulent violations? Neighbors exchanged glances. Had they been duped too? Jennifer slammed her gavel down, bang, like she could hammer the truth away. "This is out of order. We're here to discuss community access to the lake path." Her voice cracked, betraying her panic. "Which has always been private property," I finished, holding up my folder of documents like a shield. "I've got surveys, property records, proof." Did she really think she could rewrite reality? A guy in the back row stood, his voice cutting through the tension. "Jennifer, you swore that path was deeded to the community 20 years ago." Head swiveled. "What?" Her eyes darted like a cornered animal's. "Well, there's been a traditional easement." "No easement exists," Mark interrupted, his voice firm. "We checked county records thoroughly." Bam! Another lie exposed. Then Officer Reynolds stepped up, his calm authority silencing the room. "If I may," he said, holding up a plastic evidence bag. My heart skipped. Inside were the mangled pieces of my original lock, glinting under the lights. "We're investigating criminal trespassing and vandalism at this homeowner's gate. We have security footage, physical evidence, and fingerprints." Fingerprints? The crowd gasped, chairs creaking as people leaned forward. This was getting juicy. Chaos erupted. A woman near the front jumped up, furious. "You told us she was vandalizing community property." She yelled at Jennifer. "You never said it was private land." The truth was unraveling. Could Jennifer feel her grip slipping? "Order!" Jennifer pounded her gavel, desperate. "We need order!" But the meeting was a runaway train, neighbors shouting, pointing, demanding answers. It was glorious. Thomas, a quiet accountant I barely knew, sidled up to me, his face troubled. "Is it true they broke into your property?" he asked. I nodded, pulling up the security footage on my phone. Jennifer, Robert, and Michael, caught red-handed with bolt cutters. His eyes widened. "They told us you were stealing lake access, said it was community property for decades." What a lie. They even jacked up our dues last year, $50 extra for lake path maintenance. My jaw dropped. "Wait, they've been charging everyone to maintain my private property?" Thomas nodded, grim. "And they raised it again this year. Unbelievable." Mark overheard, scribbling furiously. "That could be fraud," he whispered. Fraud? This was bigger than I dreamed. Across the room, Grace was holding court with a gaggle of elderly neighbors, gesturing toward me, her eyes fierce. Heads nodded. Were they finally seeing the board's true colors? Jennifer, sensing her power crumbling, tried a new angle. "This is what happens when outsiders move in," she shouted, pointing at me. "They don't respect our traditions." Ouch, low blow. The room quieted, eyes on me. Was she really playing the new kid card? I took a deep breath, my voice steady. "I'm not an outsider trying to shake things up. I'm a homeowner protecting my legal rights, and I've uncovered that your board has been charging all of you for access to and maintenance of property they don't even own." The crowd stirred. Had they been scammed? Robert leaped up. "That's a lie!" "We have," he froze, glancing at Jennifer like a kid caught cheating. "We have documentation," she stammered, but her voice was weak, unconvincing. "Show us," multiple voices shouted. Oh, I loved this energy. Officer Reynolds stepped forward again, calm but deadly serious. I'd like to see that documentation too. It could be relevant to our investigation. Checkmate. Jennifer's face went gray. This meeting is adjourned. She squeaked, grabbing her papers and practically sprinting for the exit. Too late, Jennifer, the truth was out. As the room buzzed, neighbors swarmed me, questions flying. They fined me $200 when my daughter was in the hospital. My garbage can was out 12 hours early. One woman cried, tears in her eyes. They rejected my fence permit 3 times, then approved it when I hired Jennifer's brother's company. Another growled. What? Was the board running a racket? Thomas approached again, his accountant's brain whirring. I've always wondered about the HOA finances, he said quietly. No detailed statements in years, just vague summaries. If they're charging for your path, where's that money going? Where indeed? My mind raced embezzlement? Kickbacks? Mark pulled me aside, eyes gleaming. We should file for discovery of all HOA financial records. If there's financial misconduct on top of vandalism and harassment, this could be massive way beyond your gate. Massive? My head spun. Officer Reynolds joined us, his voice low. I've got statements from witnesses who saw board members tampering with your property. We can move forward with charges if you're ready. Charges? Oh, I was ready. I glanced around. Jennifer and her cronies had vanished, but neighbors lingered, talking, glancing my way. This wasn't just my fight anymore, it was our fight. I want to press charges, I said firmly, and I want those financial records. Let's blow this wide open. Grace hustled over, beaming. You were incredible, she said, patting my arm. So brave. Thank you for the heads up, I replied, my heart full. I'd be lost without you. She grinned, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. Oh, I'm not done. I've got notes on every board meeting for 5 years, every shady vote, every weird decision. Never thought they'd come in handy. Grace, you legend. Would you share those with Mark? I asked, stunned. Her eyes sparkled. Thought you'd never ask. What a game changer. Driving home, a strange feeling settled over me. Purpose. This wasn't just about my gate anymore. It was for Grace, Thomas, every neighbor bullied by a board drunk on power. My little fight had cracked open a vault of secrets. What else would we find? I was ready to dig deeper, allies by my side, determined to shine a light on the darkness in our cozy community. Fast forward to the courtroom, my heart pounding as I sat quietly in the back. Jennifer fidgeted at the defense table, her usual polish fading. Could she feel the walls closing in? Mark spread documents before the judge, each one a dagger aimed at the HOA's lies. What had started as a gate dispute was about to explode into something massive. Your Honor, Mark said, voice steady. During discovery, we found disturbing financial irregularities tied directly to this case. My pulse raced. Here it comes. Jennifer's lawyer leaped up. Objection! This is about a property dispute, not finances. Oh, nice try. The judge peered over his glasses. I'll allow it. These documents were properly submitted. Yes. Mark clicked to a slide, a glossy HOA brochure featuring my lakefront path, labeled Community Lake Access. I'd never seen it before. For 7 years, Mark explained, the HOA has advertised my client's private property as a community perk. They've hiked dues 3 times, claiming maintenance costs for this path. Murmurs swept the courtroom. Neighbors in the gallery leaned forward, stunned. Grace gasped beside me, her hand flying to her mouth. They lied to us all, she whispered. Mark kept going. We've uncovered payments of $127,000 to Lakeside Maintenance LLC, a company with no employees, no website, no license. But its bank account? It shows transfers straight to Jennifer's personal account. What? The crowd erupted. Anger, shock, betrayal. Jennifer went pale as a ghost, her lawyer whispering frantically. Robert slumped, looking like he wanted to disappear. During recess, neighbors mobbed me outside. They raised our dues $200 last year for that path, Thomas fumed. I worked extra shifts to pay it. Grace's eyes glistened. When my husband died, I fell behind on dues. Jennifer threatened to foreclose over $340. Now I know why they were so desperate for cash. My heart broke for her. How many others had suffered? Detective Wilson approached, a thick folder in hand. We've been investigating the HOA board for 3 months, tax irregularities. Your case gave us the missing pieces. Missing pieces? This was huge. What had I stumbled into? My gate had unlocked a scandal fraud. Threats. Maybe worse. With Grace's notes, Thomas's suspicions, and hard evidence piling up, we were ready to fight for justice. Who else would stand with us? The battle was far from over, but I felt unstoppable. Truth was on our side, and we were just getting started. Can you believe a tiny gate dispute could topple a house of lies and bring a whole community together? When court resumed, my heart was pounding like a drum. Jennifer's lawyer had scurried off for a private chat with the judge. What were they scheming now? 20 minutes later, the judge strode back in, his face stern, and dropped a bombshell. Based on new information, the district attorney is filing criminal charges against Jennifer Lewis, Robert Thompson, and Diane Miller for embezzlement, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. Court officers, take them into custody. Embezzlement, conspiracy? The courtroom buzzed with shock. As Jennifer was led away, her wrists cuffed. She shot me a glare that could have melted steel. "This isn't over," she hissed, her voice dripping venom. "Oh, really?" I stood tall, my pulse racing not with fear, but with a fire I hadn't known I had. She'd tried to bully me, but the truth was winning. That evening, my quiet street turned into a circus. News vans lined up like vultures, their lights glaring. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, neighbors, even distant cousins who'd seen the story online. A little gate fight had blown the lid off years of corruption, and the world was watching. Could this get any wilder? The court appointed an administrator, and they called an emergency HOA meeting the next week. The community center was packed to the rafters. People stood shoulder to shoulder, their faces a mix of fury and disbelief. Had we all been played for fools? The administrator didn't sugarcoat it. Beyond the path scam, she said. The board created 6 fake vendor companies, billing for work that never happened. They siphoned the reserve fund and took kickbacks from the real landscaping crew. Kickbacks? My jaw hit the floor. The crowd erupted angry shouts, stunned whispers. How deep did this go? What's next? Someone yelled, voice raw with frustration. First, we elect a new board, the administrator replied. Then, a full audit to claw back stolen funds. Finally, we're reviewing every violation notice from the past 3 years. Many were retaliatory or flat-out fake. Fake violations? I thought of the $100 daily fines they'd slapped on me for my mailbox. My hedge, pure revenge. Thomas, my accountant neighbor, stood up, his voice steady but fierce. I nominate Grace for the new board. She called out their shady spending last year, and they tried to crush her for it. The room burst into applause. Grace, sweet Grace, blushed bright red, her hands fluttering nervously. Could she handle this? I'll do it, Grace said, her voice soft but resolute. If someone helps me with the financial stuff. I'm an accountant. A stranger called out, tall, gray-haired, raising his hand like a lifeline. I'm in. More cheers. Were we finally turning the tide? I slipped outside for air, my head spinning. The warm evening wrapped around me, but I felt a chill. How had one gate caused all this? Detective Wilson followed me out, his voice low. You need to know we found a journal in Jennifer's home office. A list of problem homeowners she planned to force out. Your name? Right at the top, with notes about piling on violations until you'd have to sell. Sell my home? My blood ran cold. Why me? I asked, stunned. I barely knew her before the gate. Your property's the biggest on the lake, he said grimly. Her notes mentioned a developer friend, big plans for your land. A developer? My stomach twisted. Was this about money all along? Inside, cheers erupted. I peeked through the window. Grace stood at the podium, her frail frame radiating new strength. Was she really leading this charge? Detective Wilson handed me his card. The DA's calling you tomorrow. This case is bigger than we thought. People in high places are tangled up. You ready for that? High places? My heart skipped. How far did this web stretch? I thought of Grace, nearly losing her home over $340. Thomas, grinding extra shifts to pay hike dues. All the neighbors bullied into silence. Yes, I said, my eyes on the lake's shimmering reflection, the same lake that sparked this fight. Some gates stay locked, but the truth? That gate had to swing wide open. 6 months flew by in a blur depositions, interviews, court dates that made my head spin. Who'd have thought I'd be at the heart of a scandal that hit national news? Sitting in the DA's office, reviewing my testimony one last time, I felt like I was living someone else's life. You've been a game changer, Miss Rodriguez, the lead prosecutor said, her eyes warm but serious. Your meticulous records turned a small fraud case into a beast. I nodded, my grandfather's voice echoing in my mind. Keep everything in writing, Maja. I never dreamed my email hoarding would expose corruption in the city council. I said, half laughing, half awed. She gave a grim smile. Jennifer's ties to councilmen Walsh and Walsh Development Company would have stayed buried if you hadn't fought for that gate. Walsh? The name hit like a punch. Corruption at that level? Outside, Maple Springs was blooming. Spring had painted the paths with flowers. New swings gleamed in the park, and the community center sparkled with fresh paint. Neighbors waved as I walked home. Can you believe it? The same folks who dodged my gaze a year ago now stopped to chat, smiling like old friends. Had we really come this far? Thomas jogged over, grass stains on his knees from yard work. Big news! He grinned. The recovery firm found another account. We're getting back 60% of the stolen funds. 60%? My eyes widened. That was huge. What's the plan for it? I asked, curious. Grace pitched a real community lake access on the north side, he said, eyes sparkling. It'll blow your path out of the water, no offense. A real access. I burst out laughing finally. Something for everyone. None taken, I said, still chuckling. At home, a court letter waited in my mailbox. Restitution hearing set. Jennifer, Robert, and Diane had copped plea deals, no jail, but heavy community service and repayment plans. Justice, served with a side of humility. My doorbell chimed, and there was Grace, arms full of muffins and a folder. Board meeting prep, she said, setting the basket on my counter. The muffins smelled like heaven, blueberry bliss. I never thanked you properly, she added, her voice soft. You're the one leading the charge now, I said, waving off her gratitude. She shook her head, eyes misty. You showed me standing up matters. I was terrified of them, paid whatever they demanded, no questions. Now I'm helping fix this mess. Grace a hero? Absolutely. We spread documents across my kitchen table, new board rules, fair and clear. Violations needed photos and reviews now, no more sneaky fines. Monthly financials were posted online, every vendor contract rebid. Was this the same HOA? How's your gate? Grace asked, a playful glint in her eye. Perfect, I grinned. Quiet, boring, just how I like it. No more bolt cutters, no more drama. As Grace left, I spotted a moving truck at Jennifer's old house her family had bolted after the scandal. A young couple with 2 kids directed movers, their little girl waving at me with a gap-toothed grin. New beginnings could. I hope for them too. That evening, I dragged myself to the monthly HOA meeting, something I'd avoided forever. The community center hummed with chatter as Grace called it to order. First up, the Lake Access Project, she announced. Construction starts next month under budget, thanks to Thomas's killer negotiating. The room roared with applause. Thomas blushed, holding up plans for a fishing dock, picnic area, and kayak launch. A real community spot, way better than my little path. After, I lingered. soaking in the vibe, neighbors laughing, planning, united. Detective Wilson appeared beside me. Thought you'd like to know Councilman Walsh resigned today. The kickback probes hit 3 more council members. 3 more? My jaw dropped. How big was this? Will it ever end? I asked, half amazed, half exhausted. Corruption's a weed, he shrugged. Pull one, find 10 more. But this neighborhood, you yanked the whole root. Roots? I smiled. Damn right we did. He paused. The FBI's Public Corruption Unit wants to talk. County zoning officials are next. UN? FBI? My heart stuttered. More fights. I thought of the vandalism to my house, the threatening letters, the stress that had kept me up nights. But then I saw Grace beaming at the podium, Thomas sketching dock plans, neighbors who'd thanked me with tears in their eyes. Yes, I said, my voice firm. Some fights are worth it, worth every sleepless night. At home, I walked to my lake path, unlocking my gate under a moonlit sky. The water sparkled, whispering peace. A year ago, I'd fought for this dirt strip out of stubborn principle who'd have thought it would change everything. It was never about the gate, was it? My phone pinged. Grace. Board approved your garden expansion, unanimous. Congrats. I grinned, picturing my proper forms, my diagrams, my pitch, at the meeting, all by the book, all approved. Fairness, transparency, finally. Across the lake, laughter floated from a neighborhood barbecue. Next year, they'd have their own access to love. I locked my gate, headed back, and checked my mailbox. One last surprise. A hand-addressed envelope held a card signed by dozens of neighbors. Some people close gates, it read. Others open doors for a whole community. Thank you for being the second kind. My eyes stung. Had I really done that? Holding the card? I felt it. Not just a win, but a new beginning. What doors would we open next?